So Death Stranding 2 just came out and it's being released, I think, for a few people before its initial worldwide release, but I've already kind of seen the gameplay footage of it, so I kind of wanted to give my 2 cents on it in case people were thinking about buying it. Comparing it to the first one, there's a lot of improvement, I would say, like the vehicles, some different ways to get around. I think that's a good improvement. And visually, the game looks really, really good. Like, it almost looks like you're playing a movie just by seeing how, well the graphics are. Story is really rich. There's a lot of lore there. If you like the first one, story-wise, I'm pretty sure you'll love the second one. But the biggest drawback that I've had with this game is just, it's the freaking gameplay. Now, I did try the first Death Stranding and I could not get through any of it really, just because of how tedious the gameplay itself was to get from chapter to chapter. It's a lot of walking, it's a lot of checking your weight, your cargo. There's a lot of factors that go into play, especially like in the combat situations when you have to look at your own stats, the stuff you're carrying. It all adds up. I don't really think that's a good way to have your gameplay work, because it almost feels like every time you're playing and you're trying to do some other stuff in the meantime, you're constantly doing math in your head trying to find out what's the optimal weight so that you're not slow enough to hit your enemies or fall over on your face like an idiot. And I think that was the biggest drawback for this game series in general, especially because it's been very mixed, especially the first one, and that puts a lot of pressure on it because it's a sequel. So from what I've experienced, sequels to games tend to either make or break, but when you're doing a game like this, where the gameplay itself is just so tedious and you have to do so much just to work around just to get to where you need to be throughout the story, it really makes you wonder why they made a sequel to this or why they didn't change the gameplay to begin with. Because it almost feels like a side quest game at this point. Yes, the story is really, really good, but you're taking fetch quests and delivery quests, which in my opinion are not my favorite types of quests in games. I think they're the most unnecessary things to have, and you're trying to make a game out of it. Now, credit to where credit is due. They did improve it. They did, like I said, they added all the vehicles and stuff. They added different ways you can kind of move around. That's pretty much what I've noticed from things on their end. Otherwise though, the story itself is just really good. The visuals still look good. I'm sure it's like a really, really deep story, but if I'm gonna be completely honest, if I want to see the whole story, I'd rather just watch a whole 4-hour long video of the entire game cutscene, because I don't think I have the mental capacity to spend $70 just to play a delivery simulator again. And the other thing that kind of was a big turnoff for me in this game was just how much stuff there is on the screen sometimes, because you have like everything that goes on. You have all your weapons, you have all the cargo, you have your weight, your health, and then when you get to like certain rest zones, you are just selecting different things. Everything has its own little stationary gimmick that I would lose track of so fast. I don't think I could handle that. I'm surprised there isn't a button just to monitor your breathing. Like every 10 seconds you gotta at least breathe once or else you're gonna pass out. It's one of those cases where you have too much of something. If they just kept it to where it was just a weight thing, then I could kind of get it. But when you add so many different elements to an open world game, I feel like it's less about being an open world game and more about just trying to remember where everything is and just keeping track of all the stuff that you have. It's just a bit too much. I think maybe they could have just lessened the load with that. No pun intended. But it's still a good looking game. I think if you like the first game, you'll definitely like the second one. It's not for everyone, that's for sure. It's not for me personally, but I'm sure there's a ton of people who still play it because maybe they just want to turn their brain off and just walk around, explore the world. That's perfectly fine. There are people who like that stuff. I sometimes like playing those games, but the way this game handles is just not really for me. Maybe if there were ways that incorporated that whole delivery thing with the story, if it impacted it a bit more, then I'd kind of be invested in it. But until then, unless they do something about that, then I'm probably not gonna spend so much money trying to play this game. So that's pretty much it. I just want to talk about it since the game came out and it's, going on right now, just to kind of get my 2 cents on it. But yeah, other than that though, thanks for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll talk to you all later. See ya.